The Sherpa Screening Room is a presentation of podcast picks with Jim the Podcast Sherpa. These are episodes featuring interviews with artists and creators from various fields. Coincidentally, when the Sherpa tries to be entertaining, afterwards, he gets abandoned in various fields.
This week's episode of the Sherpa Screening Room features an interview with entrepreneur Oksana Kolesnikova. Oksana is the head of a company that provides education enrichment programs for students. She is also a classical pianist who has recorded several albums. You know, the Sherpa said that he wanted to play in a peaceful orchestra, but never could find one because of all the violins.
Coming to you from Sherpa Chalet in beautiful downtown Mount Podcastia, it's time for entertainment interviews in the Sherpa Screening Room. Grab an aisle seat and a bucket of popcorn, but don't crunch too loud or you'll miss the show. Now, here's your host, Jim, the Podcast Sherpa.
Hello there, rebels of the Sherpa-lu, and welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room. It is a side project of Podcast Picks with Jim the Podcast Sherpa. That's me. And we are recording here in Sherpa-lu Studios in the Sherpa Chalet, high atop Mount Podcastia, where I overlook the millions and millions of podcasts that are out there. And these are the shows where we get to speak to the creators. But this one's a little bit different this week. I've noticed we're really kind of expanding our horizons, which is good because if you heard the season 14 wrap-up episode, I said that I wanted to gear the show towards a bit more interviews, and in doing so, we get to talk to a little bit more people. Now, I got to tell you a story behind the story here, and my guest knows this, so this isn't any sort of shocking information to her. Originally, when I got an email requesting an interview with my guest, at first I was like, I wasn't really going to do it. I said, this has to do with business. This really isn't a business podcast. I don't really know, what kind of value we can get out of it. But then I read up on my guest, and there was just a fascinating story. And you guys have probably heard me say hundreds and hundreds of times in these almost 400 episodes that a good story makes a good podcast episode. And this lady has a fascinating life story, and she's really doing some wonderful things too. She's the creator and head of an education enrichment program. Her name is Oksana Kolesnikova, and she came to us from California. I don't think I mentioned that in the interview because I always do that. And we got to talk about her life and her really fascinating background and this amazing program that she has provided to students all over the place. And of course, as usual, if you want to find out more information on her business, we will have links in our show notes. So check it out. And I think you'll really be fascinated by the story that she has to tell and amazed by all the great things that she's doing. So this was definitely a decision that I'm happy that I made, and I kind of overruled myself because she's a super nice lady as well, and we had a really enjoyable conversation as well. And I think you're going to enjoy this conversation too. So let's head into the Sherpa Screening Room for my interview with Oksana Kolesnikova. Hello there, rebels, and welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room. My guest today has a very musical name. I like her name, and it's appropriate because this is where her dream started with music, and she has expanded it into something called the Oksana Enrichment Programs. Her name is Oksana Kolesnikova, and she is coming to us from California. And Oksana, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jim. Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Oh, it is a pleasure to have you. Your story was so fascinating. And we were just saying before we started recording, we really don't do this as a business podcast, but your story was so fascinating to me. And I thought my listeners would enjoy it too, because it really encapsulates a lot of what a lot of people think of, that you really came from very humble beginnings and you've really built like this empire.
Well, thank you. It's all fueled by passion and mission.
And now you were originally from Siberia, where your family was from, and then they moved to Kazakhstan?
Yes, that is correct. I was born in Siberia, and at the age of 6, my family moved to Kazakhstan. And at 15 years old, I moved to U.S.
There's a lot of the old movies where they always talk about Siberia, like we're exiling them to Siberia. Is it that desolate a place, or is it just kind of like just a cold place in Russia?
Well, it's definitely a cold place.
Yeah.
My childhood memories are like extreme cold. I even composed a few piano pieces capturing the beauty of the frozen land from my childhood memories. And also, I used to see as a child gorgeous aurora borealis,
Oh, sure.
also known as northern lights.
Mhm.
So I wrote a piece called Aurora Fantasy in E minor, capturing that experience growing up in Siberia.
Yeah. And we should mention that you've been playing piano since you were 5 years old, and you are now a classical pianist. But you've even taken it beyond being a pianist as well.
Yeah, so I started my career as a classically trained pianist, but then I, ventured after I finished my degree in music. I started to experiment and venture into other genres as well. So I'm not strictly a classical pianist. I do all kinds of music. And lately, I just completely shifted my direction into being the voice of my own music. So now I write music and play my original compositions.
Just out of curiosity, what kind of music do you like to listen to when you're not listening to classical?
Oh my goodness, I love everything.
Yeah.
It depends on the mood. Sometimes I like smooth jazz. Sometimes I like bossa nova, rock and roll to charge me up when working out at the gym. So yes, my taste is very versatile.
From this love of playing the piano, you actually became a piano teacher.
That's something, yes, I have been teaching piano for 25 years.
Mhm.
It is something, teaching runs in my blood because my family were instructors and I'm a second generation of teachers.
Okay.
So it is in my blood. I started teaching at 15 years old. Started with my siblings and then I expanded getting, students. It is something I really love doing on the side. And I probably gonna be doing that until even when I retire. But I've done more with my music than just teaching. I toured the world with my piano performances. I had a very, very exciting performance career since I graduated from Florida State University in 2002 up until I decided to open my business 2010. So that time in my life I dedicated to performing and traveling and sharing my music with the world.
That must have been an interesting transition to go from being a musician to an entrepreneur. How did you kind of handle doing that? You do have to sell yourself ultimately, I guess, right? Even when you're an entertainer and you're selling a business too.
Well, it was kind of everything was grassroots style, right? It's not something that just fell on my lap. I would, try different things over the years. And those led me to the next steps of evolution, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, when I stopped traveling, so I moved, initially I moved with my family from Russia to Florida. From Kazakhstan to Florida in 1993.
Okay.
So I went there to school and I pursued my music training. And then from there, from Florida, me and my husband, who's my music manager, we moved to Los Angeles in 2006. So I had a very exciting opportunity when I moved to LA. I got a position as an in-house pianist at the legendary Polo Lounge in Beverly Hills Hotel.
Okay.
So I was a resident pianist there for 7 years. So being new to Los Angeles, I had to leave my students behind in Florida. I had to leave a lot of things. I had to kind of start from scratch. But having that beautiful opportunity working, playing piano at the Polo Lounge, and for those who don't know, it's definitely a venue worth seeing if you're visiting Beverly Hills. It has a huge historical value. Like, it's known to be the place where all the celebrities go and they have their meetings with their agents and managers.
Okay.
And even back in the days, this place has been around for over 100 years. Back in the days, people like Marilyn Monroe, Frank Sinatra, they all used to frequent that beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
So I played there for 7 years, 5 days a week. So it was an amazing, amazing experience because I got to interact with celebrities, with entrepreneurs, with business leaders, and it's just such a diverse place to meet all the successful people that I used to only see on television when I was in Kazakhstan.
Right.
Never in my life I thought I would meet those people in person. And so they would see me play, and they would approach me and they would ask me if I taught piano lessons and if I could teach their children or their relatives, or they would refer me to their friends. So I started to build a piano studio from the Polo Lounge.
Okay.
So hours that I was not working at the Polo Lounge, I would teach those Beverly Hills clients. Yes, and I built a thriving studio. I really, really enjoyed teaching all these clients. And then the point came for the expansion. I decided to expand and add additional instruments because the clients that I was teaching, they would ask me, "Oh, do you know someone who can teach little Johnny, the sibling of my piano student, can teach them guitar?" And because we are in music scene, we know a lot of musicians in Beverly Hills area, I would refer guitar teachers, voice teachers, drum teachers, right? And so eventually that evolved into formation of Oksana School of Music, where I would contract the experts in different instruments other than piano, and I would send them out to teach our clients. So years forward later, right, my husband has talent for languages. He speaks 6 of them.
Okay. You met him in Italy, right?
From Italy, exactly. Yes, he's Italian.
Okay.
So he said, if we expand the company even further, and now instead of just offering music, we add foreign languages to the mix. And we did that. And it was successful because same clients we could utilize for piano lessons, for Spanish lessons, for guitar lessons, right? So they could take on a lot of subjects.
Right.
Yes. So that's how the business gradually grew. It took years and years. It was not something overnight. But it evolved even further because we decided to move from Beverly Hills and move to more suburban area where it's a little more quiet, 45 minutes away from the city. So my son started first grade. And I went to his school and I asked them, well, do you have any enrichment programs that, he can participate after school? Well, they didn't have many options.
Okay.
So I decided, okay, let's propose our programs. By then we added additional services besides music, foreign languages. We added other subjects as well. And it was a very good experience. They welcomed us. That was our first school to conduct those programs to large, number of kids. So we saw the potential in this, and we started approaching many school districts across Southern California. Now, school districts are even, they manage as many as 5 to 16 schools, right? You approach the school district, you pitch your, presentation, and if you're approved, you're automatically welcome into 16 schools at once.
Okay.
So the growth is exponential. So we have been getting one district at a time over the years. And I'm proud to say that now we are in many, many different communities in Southern California, working with school districts and municipalities, offering a variety of programs to thousands of children every single semester.
So this is really interesting because you really, you saw a need on a lot of different levels, really. First, they were just asking about the piano, then it was more instruments, and then you knew to expand it, and you saw where exactly, this need could really be put to good use, especially when you're dealing with all the schools and with, I know you deal with all tutors as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think actually one thing that's worth mentioning is you pretty much self-funded this, didn't you? You didn't really do like a fundraising thing. It was basically on what you had.
It is correct. Yes, we basically did everything on a bootstrap, I think is the term.
Right, yeah.
When you just start with nothing, right? So everything you make, you reinvest into growth.
Yeah.
And we kept it going that way. And it worked for us. It was not an overnight success. It took longer than if somebody would go the funding route, right? It took longer for us to reach this point in time, having the successful company, but that's how we did it. And, I would do it again.
Yeah. So when people sign up, when they, if they want to be more enrichment for their kids' education, they contact you and they say, well, this is what we want. And then you have the people for it. And, and I guess you make them aware of all of the other programs that you have available as well.
Yes. Now we're so busy with school districts because we pack those programs. So we kind of stepped out of doing one-on-one classes, unless it's my personal piano students that, as I said, it's something I do on the side. But, we kind of stepped out doing one-on-one because now there's so much managing and handling school districts and every location and different age groups and different programs and different staff. So it's a lot. But normally the process is when we, we reach out from time to time when we're ready to take on a new school district. We reach out to them and we introduce ourselves.
Right.
What we have to our advantage, I have to tell you, it's not easy to get into school districts. There is a lot of red tape.
Oh, sure.
To overcome. But what works to our advantage is that we already have, track records.
Right.
We provide references from other school districts that we work with, and the new schools that decide to take us on always call those references to, do their verification on us, the information. And schools, when we start with a new school district, they tell us what they want. We have a catalog of 20 wonderful programs, are highly in demand in school districts. And they look through the catalog because sometimes they have other vendors. They may have already a music company that does music lessons, right? Mm-hmm. They may already have like a foreign language company that already provides that. But because we have such a versatile program catalog, they can tell us, oh, well, we're interested in chess program. And I see it's in your catalog. Can we try with that? And that's how we start.
That's really interesting. And I think what's really cool is, and I guess I'm going to presume this is probably coming from your background, that you see the importance of mixing the arts along with all of the other stuff that, like, even if they're learning technology or even financial responsibility or anything like that, that's an important part of your curriculum.
Yes, it all stems from arts and music, especially because I, started with this because of my background, my roots, and my passion. But then as we saw the need for additional services, we first piloted them to make sure it's successful with parents and kids. And then once it proved to be successful, we added that to our roster of offerings. Like, let's say we offer financial literacy, and this was actually my son's idea too. He brought it to our attention. So my son, I have a 16-year-old, and he's quiet, very gifted, entrepreneurial individual. So he already wrote 3 books, and he is, out there doing public speaking. He's very ambitious. He's like straight A student. So I said, well, can you write a curriculum for us? Because writing is his gift. And he's knowledgeable also. Can you write a curriculum for financial literacy for kids? Because the curriculum needs to resonate with his age group, right? And even younger. So how would you put all that information in a concept that your age group understands?
Sure.
So he did write that curriculum. We, of course, did a thorough review. We, incorporated some aspects to it, but now it's active and being used in our programs.
Well, 3 books. I mean, that's actually 3 more than I've ever written. So, and that's a hot topic too with education. A lot of people say, why don't they teach financial literacy in schools? Because kids get out of high school and they don't know how to write a check. They don't know how to maintain a budget or invest or anything like that. And here you are, with your 16-year-old son saying, "Okay, I'll break it to you in my terms so you understand what I'm talking about."
Yes, it is so true. It's so needed in youth lives today. I don't understand why schools don't teach that as part of regular curriculum. Because yes, young people face the world out there, and it all ties into need to know the subject. And the better you know it, the better you can thrive in financial areas.
Absolutely. Now, I know that you were actually treating all of this educational enrichment as a franchise, and now you're going into licensing. Since this really isn't a business podcast, could you kind of explain that and like what does that mean for you as the owner of the company?
Yes. When we reached a certain point, that was 2021, where we were ready to expand even further. First initial direction and advices I received here and there was franchising. And so me and my team, we gone through this whole grueling process of how to franchise a business. And we're in California, okay, regulations are just like, wow, through the roof. So, and it's just, it's been an uphill battle, to be honest, with franchising aspect. I'm not going to lie. So we tried a lot of different things. And basically, it all boils down to one thing. Well, maybe more than one thing. But one is like regulations are just horrendous. It's really tough. So that's one. Two, the price of franchise is very high for a lot of people. And everything needs to be managed and micromanaged when you have franchisees, right? So recently, me and my team decided to pivot from franchising and switching into licensing. And here's why I love licensing arrangement. One is that it's way less costly. It's a fraction of what franchise would cost, a fraction. Two, licensees have freedom. I don't have to suffocate them for every single micromanagement and regulations and be on them like a hawk. You know what I mean?
Right.
So neither they nor I get into trouble with regulators. So they enjoy the freedom aspect of it. So we're now in the process of that transitioning, and Oksana Management Group Inc., that's the name of our company, we will be able to start offering licensing in January 2026.
Now, you actually have several companies that are really under your name, right? How is that for you to keep them running? Are they all like pieces of a whole, or are they three separate animals where you really have to give each one a different approach?
Yes, well, it's like a tree, right? That branch out in different directions. So that's how I like to think of it. So another company I have is called Oksana Foundation. It is a nonprofit, 501c3, and so basically the company was formed in 2020. The mission of our nonprofit, Oksana Foundation, is to help underserved youth, to benefit from this wonderful programs, free of cost, right? Free of charge. Because if you think about like piano lessons, for example, is a luxury item, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody can, enjoy having a piano instructor.
Or a piano, for that matter.
So the foundation gears, does that work, it finds talented youth and it gives them scholarships to pursue their talents. Even if they don't have financial means to achieve their goals, right, in those areas. But the reason why I opened this company is because when I was a performing artist, I played so many different venues, including fundraisers and charity events.
Okay.
Right? So I was the pianist playing at those events. And every time I would perform, in the back of my mind, I always would tell myself, someday I will have my own charity organization so I can give that impact to others and make this world a better place through my efforts, through our donor efforts. So the perfect time came during pandemic because now I had more time because, some people could not do classes. Some schools could not do classes. Everything was on hiatus. And the kids were at home, right? Doing everything, like at home, like needing this kind of outlet. So I started, doing the classes for children online free of charge. And there was such an overwhelming reception. And I thought like, wow, this is like amazing, perfect time to focus on this. And that's when the foundation was born, created in 2020. And I'm really proud of the work that we do.
You've got like so much under your belt already. I mean, with all of this going on, is there more that you want to do? I get a feeling that like you're not done yet.
Well, there is a lot on my plate. I barely sleep.
I wonder why.
But again, I'm driven by passion.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like, thank God, like I discovered my mission, what I want to do in my life. So it drives me from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. Mm-hmm. So I love what I do. I love, seeing children learning new subjects that they never had exposure to before and maybe discovering their talents, right?
Sure.
So, there's always opportunities that arise as you go through your, life path. So, yeah, we'll see. There are some things brewing. They're a little too early to share.
Okay.
But I would love to have your listeners to connect with me. I am on Facebook. My Facebook is pianist Oksana, and Oksana spells Oksana. And my Instagram is at OMG Oksana. OMG is short for Oksana Management Group, which is like the initials, right? OMG. Okay. So OMG Oksana. And I always post the new things that we're doing and any events taking place, or like I just recently had a piano concert in Florida. I flew out and I did a beautiful show in St. Petersburg. So sometimes I post also like my appearances, with my performances.
And you also have a website too, if people want to find out a little bit more.
Yes. Website is OksanaManagementGroup.com. That's for our mother company. And for my foundation, it's OksanaFoundation.org. And Oksana again spells Oksana.
Okay. There you have it, folks. Her name is Oksana Kolesnikova. I got it right this time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
Listen and subscribe on podcast apps everywhere. And we're on YouTube at Sherpa-lution. Sorry, no video. You're welcome.
Thanks so much for listening. And thanks so much to Oksana for spending a little time here in the Sherpa Screening Room. Hey, in addition to doing our shows on Wednesdays, we've got a show on Saturdays. And that's where we normally do Sherpa Selects. And those are my favorite episodes from the first 7 seasons. And I remaster them so we can get them on the YouTube channel at Sherpa-lution if you like listening to YouTube. No videos there. You're welcome. You're welcome. I know. I'm a good guy. And I've noticed that you guys have been really responsive to the Sherpa Selects on Saturday, and I really appreciate it. But those of you who haven't checked it out, please feel free to. They are out there Saturdays, and we have our new episodes here on Wednesdays. That's our regular schedule. And you can follow me on social media, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube at Sherpa-lution. And also, you can support the show for no money at all. No money down, no money for me to collect from you. It is at a site called open.video, and it's kind of like YouTube, but you'll be completely supporting the show 100%. Like that, huh? Pretty neat. So we will be back here next week with another show, and I guess we will find out what it's going to be. I tell you, it's a surprise every once in a while, even for me. So I hope it's a nice surprise for you too. And I say to you, Viva la Sherpa-lution!
Thanks for listening to the Sherpa Screening Room. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. I'm Mr. Bruce, and this has been a Sherpa-lu Studios production. Viva la Sherpa-lution!